Hey guys, and welcome back to the final author reading of my book, UFO and Paranormal Activity on the Old Titus Dairy Farm from 1963 to 2018. And remember, again, to stick around after the reading, and I'll take you on a video tour of where the story actually took place. So, here we begin. Chapter 3, The Shadowman from Hell. In the old days, we spent our evenings as a family parked in front of our old black and white TV set. There were only 4 channels back then, 3, 13, 8, and PBS. Being down in the hills, we could only pick up 2, 3, and 13. If atmospheric conditions were just right, and they seldom were, we could pull in a very snowy Channel 8. On this particular night, sometime around 1967 or 68, me and my brother were in our usual places, sprawled out on the living room floor in front of the boob tube. Dad was lying on the couch and Mom was in her favorite chair. While we were watching TV, I remembered something I wanted. Unfortunately, it was upstairs, a place that experience had taught me to avoid at all costs on my own at night. Whatever it was that I wanted, the desire for it was strong enough that I was willing to risk life and limb to get it. So there I stood at the bottom of the stairway, looking up at the vinyl accordion-style door and debating whether it was really worth the risk. After a few minutes, I decided to go for it. Carefully slid the door open, hoping with everything in me that the noise wouldn't awake Mr. Titus, the family ghost. Stepping onto the first step, I reached up and turned on the two-way light. I couldn't feel his presence anywhere. I cautiously walked up a few more steps. He still wasn't there. I was going to be safe. With a grin like the Cheshire Cat, I ran up the rest of the steps and made the quick U-turn down the hall to my room. Flipping on the light, I grabbed my prized item and stood there for a moment, bursting with pride. I was in my room, at night, alone, and I wasn't afraid. I was growing up. Just as I got to my bedroom doorway, my legs became heavy. I froze in my tracks. My heart began beating like it was going to shoot out of my chest like the creature in Alien. I was suddenly filled with an inexplicable fear that overwhelmed me every time Mr. Titus appeared. But this didn't feel like Mr. Titus. This was something different. This thing wanted to hurt me. I was trapped. The ghost of Mr. Titus was annoying at best. He opened and closed doors, he pulled things, but he never tried to hurt anyone. This thing was new, terrifying, and it was at the end of the hall, just inside Mom and Dad's room, and it was waiting for me. All the excitement I had felt about being so brave and grown up was gone. I was terrified. I wasn't used to something invisible wanting to actually hurt me. I knew I had only 2 choices, and I didn't like either of them. I could yell for help and listen to my family tell me to stop being stupid and possibly hear snide remarks from my brother till morning, or I could stay put and risk it coming after me and killing me. In the end, I decided on a third option. Take a chance on beating it to the stairs and get down before it could hurt me. It's comical to think I could beat it to the stairway. From my room, I had to run the length of the hallway, make a fast U-turn, and run down the stairs. It just needed to walk 2 steps and it was there. I mustered up all the courage I could, took several deep breaths, steeled myself, then bolted down the hall as fast as my trembling little legs could take me. It was nowhere in sight. I was going to win. But just as I was about to make the U-turn, a huge black shadow shaped like a stretching square came out of Mom and Dad's room. It was at least 2/3 of the wall high. I felt as though I was being suffocated by it, as though it were trying to engulf me. There was no way I could turn back now. I had to force my shaky little legs on. Wheeling my feet onto the top stairs, I stretched out my arms to brace myself against the walls so I wouldn't fall. Then I felt a hand on my back. It was pushing me forward. I was missing steps all the way down. I somehow managed to land on my feet when I hit the living room floor. I quickly turned around and looked up the stairs. There at the top stood Shadowman. We stared at one another for a moment. He had made his point, and he knew it. He slowly turned away and went back into Mom and Dad's room. This wouldn't be the only time he would push me down the stairs. It happened a lot after that. In time, he must have gotten bored because he eventually stopped, for which I'm quite thankful. From square to shadow. How did the shadow go from a square to a shadow? According to some paranormal investigators, sometimes it takes a bit for an entity to reveal itself. It can go from a shadow to a full-blown apparition, or just remain a shadow. It just depends on how much energy it's able to draw in order to reveal itself. In this case, the square was transforming into a Shadowman as it was coming out of Mom and Dad's room. I didn't understand what I was seeing at the time. One minute I'm being chased by a stretching shadow square, and the next I'm looking up at a Shadowman. When I learned about how they transform, I realized I got to see part of that transformation taking place that night. That's exciting. Stick around and I'll take you on a video tour of where this event actually took place. So, thank you for watching, for those of you who have watched all the shows. And don't forget to check out my book. Link is in the comments or the section below. And we'll catch you later. Bye-bye. From hell. Now, the living room, quite frankly, didn't look anything like this at the time when we were during the Shadowman. But basically, the TV's pretty much always been in that direction because you had, back in those days, we had rabbit ears. And so we'd, play with them to try to get the signals off on that backside. But anyways, that night when whatever it was that I felt like I had to have, and I wish I could remember what it was, but it was enough to drive me up the stairs at night. But anyways, came up to here, and this is the stairway that I stood in front of. But we had the sliding vinyl doors, for those of you who knows what those are, and I slid it over, and I looked up the stairs, and I just felt, and here's the light switch that I hit, and I just felt for a moment to see if I could feel Mr. Titus, and everything was okay, and I stepped up a few more steps. Everything seemed all right. I looked around. Nothing seemed to be coming from Mom's room, so away we went. And you're probably going to get seasick. And here is the U-turn that you make to go around to my room, to go down, well, what was our room at that point. Here was the doorway to go in, and then over here was where I was standing to get whatever it was I wanted. And when I looked back, this is where I was, this is where I was looking through when I was thinking about how cool it was that I was upstairs. I was brave as anything. And then I started back down this direction. And it's at this doorway right here, at the stop right here, that my legs froze up. Something was right there in Mom and Dad's room. And it looks a lot further away on screen. It's a lot closer in person. But that was it. So my decisions were, what you've read in the book. And that's how close it was. This is why it was so ridiculous to think that I could outrun the Shadowman to get from here to that corner, make the U-turn, and run back down the steps. But I did. And it was once I got to this spot right here, there's the turn, there's the shadow as I went right here, and you can see back the angle right now that I'm at. There was Mom's room. There's their spooky closet back there. But this is where I saw it come. Right there, the shadow was already up to about right there on the wall. Let's see if I can get the ceiling in there. And I about lost it. I mean, I was so freaking scared. So from here, it was to step down, push my hand against here, grabbed hold of the banister there, and I just held both hands trying to get down. And about right here is when I felt the shove in my back. And then it was just feeling it pushing me all the way down, and I was desperately fighting to hang on and keep from falling flat. which I had done so many times anyway. And so anyways, but that's where it all took place. And I hope you enjoyed that trip, and we'll catch you later.